All right, so welcome back. Second week, first official session. First week was a bit of a show and tell and setting the groundwork. But the idea behind these sessions is to have myself, Daniel, and other MLB reps being able to talk you through hot topics or specific criteria that's come up during the previous week. What we're getting support, increased level of support on, features, tools, things that brokers want to see. One of the areas that's been queried about and people wanting to know more about and having activated is our chief marketing automation services. We sent out some notifications and some communications a while back about Chief automatically emailing your clients based on milestones, so back channels from the lenders, valuations ordered, settlements booked, that sort of thing. I think at the time people were a bit like, oh, maybe, sounds great, I'll come back to you and go from there, but they've forgotten, or they haven't had a chance to come back to it. So wanted to go through that again today and ideally activate it for all our users unless they're 100% wanting to manage that themselves and opt out of it. Because what we're finding is people that are using it, they're enjoying the fact that they're included in the communications, that their clients are being messaged automatically. It's proactive, it's timely, and it's immediate. So if you wish to opt out of having it activated, let me know. Either send me an email. I'll put it in the chat just in case people don't have it. Because I think it's better to have it than not. Regardless on your business process and model, it's a far more effective mechanism than remembering to log in and do it. And there's nothing wrong with having two emails, one that you follow up with later on and provide some more context. So for this session, I'll show you through the different templates and how they work and what the triggers are, so you can make an informed decision about what it's going to do. So let me just find the screen. Let me know if you can see the white box with the application has been submitted. Cool. Thanks, Michael. So behind Chief, we've built a number of predetermined templates for the main milestones that a broker goes through and what Apply Online provides us back with. So we didn't want to make it overly complicated, overly wordy, something that looks good on the mobile. It's got your branding, it's got your details, it's got all your information on it. So at a bare minimum, a deal gets conditionally approved or unconditionally approved, that the client's informed straight away. If you're out on site, if you're out seeing clients, if you're tied up in a meeting, at least there's things happening on your behalf without you having to remember to log into the base and send emails from a template you created, or if you've got your email synced and you're sending them out via Outlook or Gmail, that this is happening on behalf of you automatically. So these are the look and feel as far as the template is concerned. As I said, your logo goes at the very top, down the bottom, along with your personal information, so that there's always a brand awareness. It's not like My Local Broker or Chief sending them out. A couple of the other ones, let me just share the whole screen because it's not coming up. So you get an email saying, oops, wrong one, conditionally approved, for example. Hopefully you can read that text. Dear first name, good news, your loan's been conditionally approved. You'll hear from me shortly to discuss the items needed to meet full approval. Obviously logos and contact details are embedded automatically in the form. So There's a conditional information, like if you don't have a logo, then it will default to nothing. So generally the majority of our users have logos in the system. You get copied in on all the communication, so you're across when they're sent out, what they look like, what email address it got sent to. If need be, you can then forward it on to a second account or a second client or a third person, or the solicitor or conveyancer or some other related party. So there's mechanisms there to manage that. There's stuff around credit proposals, which we're looking at how we tie that in. So submitting through the credit proposal is nice branded email. It's the attachments pulled through as well, instead of it just being a generic PDF attachment. Docs received. Again, depending on the lender, some may or may not send back the docs received status. So we might have 12 milestones within Chief and apply online, but not every single lender triggers every single one of them. So keep that in mind, when it comes to how these will get triggered. I can send out a list separately of the ones that we're aware of as far as what those lenders do and don't trigger. We seem to be seeing some intermittent issues with back channels across a lot of lenders in general. Like that's just the feedback we're hearing from brokers across the board, is all the bank systems aren't as communicative as they have been in the past. So even with their direct communications, like their email, their broker logins and things like that, haven't been as overwhelming as previous thought. So next one on the list, we've got docs ready. So again, depending on whether that status is sent via reply online, we'll determine if that communication is sent out. So this is what the assessment summary email that gets sent out would look like. Again, your branding, your details. Settlements booked. Client name, advise your loan settlement date has been booked. We'll be in touch shortly to confirm the exact date of settlement. Logo, branding, simple, effective, immediate, and then settlement. Congratulations. And as I said, there's nothing stopping you from having follow-up communications, creating your own templates, sending them out off the back of these sorts of things. It's making sure that if there's 5 loans that are on the move at any one time, and they're progressing at different rates, and you're working for yourself, you don't have support staff or people to manage files for you, it just means that these are going out immediately. You're then not sort of beholden to getting back to the office and checking up and following through, or having someone else managing that on your behalf. Credit proposal. Unconditional. So nice and simple, easy to read, looks great on a mobile, not too wordy. And from a valuation standpoint, if the system traps that it has been ordered and it's been received, 2 separate emails will go out. Some banks don't obviously manage valuations or trigger the back channels via reply online. So not every lender, not every if it's an upfront, those sorts of scenarios won't get trapped. But if that does happen, then you're provided with that status. We'll pass that on accordingly. So from a automation standpoint, it's pretty straightforward. The Chief has a notifications API when an opportunity that from apply online gets triggered. So let me just go find an example of one while we're chatting. The email notification will get trapped based on the opportunity ID, and it will look through the client, say client 1, email address, and any other relevant details that are pertinent to the email will get sent out. You'll get CC'd on the email, so you've got a copy of the correspondence, and you're 100% aware of the communication going out. So just opening up another deal in Apply Online, it's got some status tracking. This one. So for example, for this application, we would have got an application received and an unconditional approval back channel come back through. Those would have been triggered automatically at the time of the back channel being received by Apply Online. So on top of that, you've got the ability to create your own templates. You can go into Base and manage your own communications off the back of that. If you've got your own templates and Outlook and things like that, you still have the capability of providing more detailed follow-ups. But I think there's never such thing as too much communication when it comes to such an important process and an important transaction in a consumer's experience. We did some consumer interviews, and one of the big gripes was lack of communication with brokers in general. Follow-ups, voicemails, not getting told where they're at, not having a good understanding of where their loan was at certain periods of time. So the idea behind this is to give them as much information as possible. As soon as a deal gets progresses, they're aware of it. If it gets further down the chain, they're aware of it. They're not chasing you for updates. They're not chasing your staff for updates. That's the sort of thing that we're trying to remedy, is a consumer calling you, getting your voicemail because you're in a meeting, that meeting going for 2 or 3 hours, and it's the 14th phone call you've got to call back today, and you don't get around to that for another couple of hours. That's the sort of stuff that we want to give them constant engagement, constant notification, so that they don't feel the need to call you, because they've got a really good understanding of where things are at. And the only time they're calling is if they've got questions or if they want to know more. So just a quick show of hands or in the chat, those that feel like this is something that's going to add value to the process, that feel like that it's something that's going to help them manage clients through this process. If you want to post a question in the chat, by all means. If you want to provide some feedback about how it's going to work or what your thoughts are. As I said, I want to turn this on for all of our users, because I don't think it detracts value at all. I don't think it's confusing. It's just going to help manage people's expectations. So if you've got the chat open. Yep, so Michael's happy to have that turned on. So what I'm going to try and do for the next session, the next Campfire sessions, is change the way the webinar is set up. So it's actually a meeting, and it allows you to talk, allows you to put your webcam on, because I think the way that the webinar gets set up in Zoom is it's only for chat and Q&A. There's no mics, there's no cameras. So I can turn my camera on, but no one else can. So the idea is that we want you to be able to see each other, to communicate with each other, understand that you're part of a community, and that you might know each other, you might have come across each other at industry functions or different events, or you've worked with someone in the past. So we want to have organic and sort of training and learning via osmosis. Some brokers have been with us for a long time and use things one way. Others have just joined and they want to know some real world examples of how things work, and want to learn off those that have been there and done that. So that's, I suppose, what we want to achieve with these sessions. And part of that is continually improving, and making sure that these sessions are relevant to what we're seeing at the moment. So as I said, marketing and automation was something that was quite topical. And the idea was that we had a means to do that on a regular basis. That wasn't something that we'd scheduled 3 or 4 weeks in advance, where previously we've sort of been trying to schedule our webinars to have themes and topics and agendas. And it was very much a chop and change. Some people were registering far in advance because they were interested in it. So to then change that from something to do with process X to something to do with process Y was a bit cumbersome and a bit of a challenge for us. So we wanted to have a weekly catch up, nothing too overbearing, that people could join in and go, look, you know what, I've got a problem with this, or I don't understand what's going on with the client line, or my credit proposals or DocuSign or whatever it might be. So we can catch it, address it, and everyone benefits from it. At the moment, we have a lot of one-to-one phone calls with people to resolve things. And that doesn't necessarily translate across the group. We might have the same conversation with 2 or 3 people. So we want to make sure that that information is relevant and shared across the group. So I think off the back of this, I'll send out a communication to all our brokers, not just the ones that have dialed in, and let them know that this is what we're doing. We're going to activate this. If you've got any, if you don't want it turned on, let us know, because I think a lot of people are happy to have it. They're just not aware or time poor and haven't been able to dedicate the time to it. But for people that have got a specific process that they want to follow and don't want this information being done on their behalf, then that's fine. We can certainly support that. But I just feel that it's too valuable not to have. So specific questions. Anything else you want me to cover off on top of that? I'm going to open up something else separately while we talk. Anyone got any questions? Apart from sounds great and that you're super keen, which I've got in the chat, which is good. Oh, cool. So the second part of this email marketing and campaign setup is what we're working on at the moment is around birthday notifications, settlement anniversaries, end of financial year, and a holiday specific template. So what we're designing at the moment, I'll send a separate communication about the same sort of concept. Like we've got some generic templates that you can then modify for your own use, but it'll go out to clients based on for their birthday, settlement of their loan, end of financial year, and happy holidays. And depending on your client base and what that holiday period looks like, we've tried to keep it agnostic when it comes to the religions and things of the world. So that's hopefully going to be ready to roll out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that way, same deal, you'll be able to opt in and out of that process. At least all your clients are, you're able to manage that with them automatically. So I'm just seeing if I can pull up an example of the template while we're chatting. Does anyone have a specific process they follow at the moment for birthdays, settlement anniversaries, that sort of thing? It's a bit hard with the chat for immediate responses, but so that's the next stage. And the idea is that we keep building out these segments and these automations on your behalf. So client communication isn't something that you're having to manage front of mind, front of house. It's something that you focus on processing loans and selling and working through with clients. And a lot of those touch points are handled on your behalf. That's the plan, that's the goal. There's a whole sort of set of automations that come off the back of it. So what I can do is show you an example where there's a whole lot of statistics and information behind the emails that get sent out. There's triggers, if this, then that, based on times and dates and things like that. So with the birthdays and the next set of templates, you'll be able to have the templates available within your chief marketing section. So you'll be able to actually open them up and look at the templates, manage them, change any of the dates, that sort of thing. So With the back channel based ones, they're sort of set and forget. There's no individual based modifications, but the next set are going to be deployed into your own specific instance of chief marketing. So I've got a question here. So Michael wants to know about marketing to existing clients and figure out what type of marketing goes out to them, like home loans, investments, car loans, personal, etc. So there's two parts to that. There's lists and subscribers within the marketing section. So you can send out whatever templates, whatever campaigns, whatever marketing you would like. It's all about having the lists and segments set up. So if you've got existing databases, if you've got stuff you've migrated across to base when you came across to MLB, if you've got lists that you manage individually, you can go and add a new form, you can add new segments, you can copy and paste spreadsheets into this and create subscriber lists. You can then create a campaign, for example, called personal loans. Whatever the email address is. You've got templates. So we give you a number of different standard templates. You can import one. You can choose, from a list if you'd like. You can do a plain text email if you want. If you've got existing templates you've used in the past, or you've got access to the HTML behind it, you can copy and paste that in. But for example, and you can edit sections and put content in and make it more personalized. I'm just logging into my Chief account because I've got some other templates in there that I can show you. Those are slightly different look and feel, and more like what you would see when you log into your one. So you go to Chief Marketing. So if you want to do a campaign from scratch, click that, newsletter. So these are the two default templates you get: local news and broker newsletter. I can click on whatever template I want to start with, and all these regions are editable. This logo at the top will be your personal branding. If I want to change that to change the text in the middle here. Whatever it might be. And then you can actually select posts, so you can manage posts that we write into your articles. So you can click on Manage, and see on the left-hand side here, I can turn them off and on. I can show older posts. I can go through and find content that I want to specifically put in that you don't have to write yourself. Okay. Home loan review. Review it. And then pick your recipients. So could be your chief contacts. You could import a new list. You could, again, there's different mechanisms for creating campaigns and lists and segmentations and things like that. So half the battle is just having the list. Everyone's got a slightly different mechanism. If you've got spreadsheets, if you've got stuff in base, if you've got a separate tool you've used like MailChimp or something in the past, then get in touch and we can work through the specifics. But we'll probably end up doing a couple more sessions on this in general. I think it's going to be important that you can do this on a regular basis. Michael wanted to know if this content can be sent out from us automatically each month. There is an option for, so we do it also for social media. So we get posting privileges to your social media accounts, your LinkedIn, Facebook pages, that sort of thing. So check in with your BDM about the digital packages and what can and can't be sent and what the obligations are, and they can work through the specifics with you. But I know there are options for emails, campaigns, social media, that sort of thing on your behalf. If it's a case of just leveraging the settlement and back channel notifications and the upcoming birthdays and whatnot, that'll be sort of that'll just get turned on. So pretty much all those automated notifications will get activated. If you wanted to do your own specific campaigns or your own automation, then you can. As I said, it's most of the time we want to get people really comfortable with chief, compliance, lodgements, servicing, get all that stuff bedded down before we start to tackle more and more of the tools and services and CRM component, because for some people, learning one thing's hard, but learning multiple things at the same time is hard. So it's, just trying to manage individual capabilities and needs as we go along. So for those that are based in New South Wales and Queensland, we've got Daniel Brooker, who you've probably spoken with and worked through, whether from a BDM or a support standpoint. By all means, get in touch and go through things with him. For those that are Victorian and southern region based, obviously you've got my details and can get in touch and we can work through the specifics. But as I said, at this point, apart from Catherine, we'll turn on those automated emails. Just so, and as I said, worst case scenario, if you want to in a week or a month, or you want to turn them off and you want to change it up, then we can do so. But at least you can trial it. If your clients are not happy with getting emails, you can sort of let us know that it's not for them, and we can deactivate it for you. So, but yeah, that's that half hour of power with the chief Campfire. As I said, hopefully next week's sessions will have the mics and webcams enabled, so we can chat and talk without having to use the chat and Q&A functions. So a little bit more interactive and visual going forward. I think the subsequent sessions will probably revolve around base and reporting and using that tool with more vigor. Dan Brooker has been sort of spending a bit of time with our brokers about using that to its full capacity and getting them up, making sure you've got the base mobile app, making sure your email and calendars are synced, just the bare bones of the CRM, and then working up through that. So sending emails, tracking them electronically, creating templates, looking at your reporting to see how your conversions go and things like that. A lot of time with CRMs that they get more and more powerful the longer you use them. So for those that have just started, they've got only one load in there. Well, the status tracking and reporting is not going to be that comprehensive, but the more you do, the more insights, the more tools, the more data that gets pulled through into that, the better. So lastly, we're also working on backfilling a lot of opportunities from chief and base, so syncing, like where mobile numbers haven't synced across, or phone numbers or addresses or dates of birth. So that's something that we're doing at the moment. Assuming that gets done this week. So if you're finding that there's been information that's not in base but it's in chief or vice versa, then that'll be resolved. It'll look for blank values and update them accordingly. Michael just wants to know if there's a support person to assist with AOL issues while trying to lodge a deal. Again, Daniel and myself are the primary contacts for support. So if you've got a deal in AOL, send through an email to the support@mylocalbroker.com.au email address, because that gets logged. A ticket gets created for it as well. I'll just put the email in. Let's CC myself, Daniel. So that way it gets logged. It's visibility across the business. Different support people can see the ticket. If we need to, loop in someone from a compliance standpoint, we can do so. But it's the best approach, because if Daniel's in a web session or I'm in a web session you can't get a hold of me. Generally speaking, email is safe because if I'm in a meeting, I can still reply to emails and do things secondary. But yeah, taking phone calls is sometimes a little bit trickier. But yeah, at least if you use the support and CC myself or Daniel, then you've got maximum coverage. So I just saw an email from David. I'll have a look at the email and respond back via email on that one, Dave. I'll have to have a look at what the notification is specifically. Any questions, feedback, queries? As I said, we'll activate the notifications for those that opted out will work. But yeah, I think most people are pretty excited about the idea of less work, more communication without any more effort. So yeah, thanks very much for coming. Stay tuned for next week. In the meantime, if you've got specifics or you want us to add something to the agenda for next week, email, same channel, just do the support ad, include yourself or Daniel, and we'll go from there. Awesome. Thanks very much for your time, and speak to you soon.